Good evening. Thank you for joining us for another virtual town hall. Today is Wednesday, April 29th. I want to start off by recapping today's numbers. We are now at 17,303 cases here in Ohio with 46 in the county. And one additional death has been added to the data. So we're now in total of 4 deaths in the county. I want to thank you all. I want to thank you for all that you've done to help flatten the curve. We've done an amazing job at flattening the curve, and this has helped in reducing the burden on hospitals, and more importantly, save lives. So thank you for all that you're doing. Continue doing what you're doing to take all the basic protective measures. And it's important because we're not out of the woods. We're in this. We're going to be in this for a long time. So please take all the necessary steps that you can. We are certainly doing our part. This is not business as usual for us. It is a time of great stress and uncertainty, not just for our labor force, for our residents, and our business community. And tonight's topic or conversation is going to revolve mostly around businesses. We want to let you know that you are not alone. We're in this together, and together we should get through this. People across the state, across the country, in fact, across the world, are feeling the economic pain. I want to tell you that my time and energy is wholly dedicated to thinking about how we're going to get through COVID-19, not just in Yellow Springs, but also in the region. Are we doing all that we can to get through this safely, and while still maintaining some level of operation in our community, in our economic system? Joining me tonight is Tom Manley, Jenna Marie Cox, and Karen Winter and Lisa Krieger, who will be talking about what are we doing around business activities. But before we get to them, we're going to hear from Chief Carlson. Chief.
Thank you, Josue. Good evening, everyone. I am coming tonight with my new buzz cut. I guarantee you that my hair is not this gray. It is the computer lighting. So just keep that in mind. Your police department and dispatch center are doing well. We're seeing a little bit of a rise in call volume and traffic flow in town, but that's to be expected. Overall, the village is doing very well regarding precautionary measures and respecting personal space. I've been out of the village today in several communities on business, and I noticed a significant difference in people's behavior. I want to just take a moment and give a special thanks to Springs Gate Ministries. Rebecca and your team, thank you very much. And a special thank you to Susan and Phil Miller. Your generosity to the village, our first responders, is very much appreciated. Please know that your efforts are making a huge difference, touching citizens and staff in a most precious way. Thank you again. Nothing else to pass on. Josue, back to you.
Thank you, Chief. And we will now hear from Tom Manley. Tom, welcome, Tom. Thank you for joining us.
This is going to be, I don't think I've used this joke yet, but I've decided on the inscription on my tombstone, if I ever have it, it's going to be that little microphone with a line through it that, I'm unmuted, it seems like forever. So, yeah, sorry to be late joining. Thank everybody for your amazing efforts. And I'm happy to answer any questions about what's going on at Antioch College. We're hard at work. We've been hard at work, it seems like, for the last 50 years, even though that's only been 7 or 8 weeks. We're well underway with our spring quarter. We have a high percentage of our students actually enrolled. We have 11 students still on campus, and probably a few more who will join eventually because they have untenable situations where they are currently. We have some students out on co-op, but many have switched their sequence to allow them to be online and then to figure out co-op placements when there's more clarity in terms of ability to travel and to actually work on site. The campus is largely down to essential workers for operations. As you all know, the Wellness Center is closed, the Glen Helen is closed. Only non-essential staff are entering buildings. We're cleaning dormitories from the last quarter, and we're doing our best to keep up with the April rains and cutting the grass, which I used to think was one of our biggest challenges, and now I'm so appreciative to watch the lawnmower go by, just because, you know, there's not a whole lot else to do except be on Zoom meetings all day. I'm happy to take questions. I mean, I can also mention, because there was written in the Yellow Springs News 2 weeks ago, or maybe it's 3 weeks now, that we quickly decided at the end of March to work on right-sizing our cash flow because of the loss of revenue. That was immediately apparent from these closures and the fact that we wouldn't have students living in residence halls or eating in the dining halls, and we had no idea really what tuition revenue was going to be like, or frankly, what giving was going to be like, and that's our lifeblood. 75% of our operating funds are coming from our donors. I'm sorry, I know I was going to take questions, but I'm going to give you a couple of good pieces of news. Our $1 million March match, which we were very concerned about when we had to go offline or online, and the economy began to sink, ended very successfully. We got through the month of March. We not only met the $500,000 match, but we exceeded that by over $100,000. We've had some really important gifts made to us this month. And maybe some of the best news is that our admissions numbers for the fall are way up. We are probably at this point 2 times ahead of our committed students, and 5 or 6 times our deposits compared to last year to date. And so that's really looking good. And the response to Antioch College Works is in those numbers and in a lot of other positive responses that we're getting. So there's good news there, mixed in with all of the uncertainty.
That is good news, Tom. We've opened up the questions, so folks are encouraged to send in their questions via the chat box or email or phone. And at the end of the speaking remarks, we'll entertain those questions. So I'll have some questions for you when the other speakers are done.
Okay.
All right, we will now hear from Karen Wintrow. Karen. We need to unmute Karen.
Oh, I unmuted myself. Okay. Sorry about that. Thanks for having me, now that you can hear me. I want to start by giving a shout out to all of our essential businesses and the businesses who have been open, serving the community during these past few weeks, feeding us, giving us our groceries, all of the things that are so important to the community. They've had to do different things. They've had to do online sales, curbside delivery or curbside pickup and delivery, things that they had never really done before. And the folks who are open and working are doing an incredible job. So thanks to them. We finally got some information from Governor DeWine that we now have a schedule for at least some of our businesses starting May 1st, which is Friday. It's really more about medical, that if anybody needs essential surgery, that it doesn't involve an overnight stay, they can get that. So I'm sure all of your physicians and any of you who need those services are aware of that. Beginning May 4th, manufacturing, distribution, construction, and office workers can go back. So general offices can go back on May 4th. Then starting May 12th, we can get back to get our shops open and get the retail moving again. All of these, and really at this point, that's all that's been established. We don't have a timeline yet for restaurants, bars, schools, daycares, salons and spas, entertainment venues, recreation, gyms, adult facilities. There isn't any timetable for us. There's still a lot to be learned, but all of the rules that have really been in place so far for the essential businesses that have been open will stay in place. There's a bit of ambiguity regarding masks, but what I can tell you is that in the village, we are going to be, part of our messages is going to be encouraging our visitors and our businesses to wear masks. There are definitely some legal issues, and if you're a business or a person who can't wear a mask for some reason, there are some ways that you can be relieved of that. Conducting daily health assessments or self-evaluation of employees, maintaining good hygiene, which is hand washing and social distancing, cleaning and sanitizing workplaces, and limiting capacity to maybe around 50% to maintain the physical distancing. So in regard to your shops and your places of business, the Miami Township Fire and Rescue will be happy to come visit your location, talk to you about how you can maintain all of those requirements, help you establish social distancing. They'll work with you on occupancy loads. So, and the chamber is working on a marketing, I don't want to call it a marketing, we're working on a messaging campaign that will provide uniform signage for all of the shops that will talk about occupancy, talk about all of these wearing masks, talk about all of these expectations that we're hoping people will follow through with. So we have actually had a donation of some signage from Young's Jersey Dairy, which we're excited about, but we'll be getting all of that worked out in the next week or so. And I use the word marketing, and I want to assure everyone that the chamber is not advertising, marketing, or encouraging visitors to come to Yellow Springs, and we will not be. We will be communicating a message of what our expectations are, and we will not be doing broader marketing. There's a balance there because we want to support our businesses, so just trust that we are not in a mode where we're going to be broadcasting all of the openings and, hey, everybody come to Yellow Springs right now. The other thing that we don't know about when there's going to be we're going to be able to have events again. So, and we all know how important events are to Yellow Springs. So that's something I'm looking forward to hearing more about. I know that businesses are concerned. I know that many have not been open for weeks. You have staff to pay. There are rent to pay, utilities. There are just all kinds of financial concerns. I'm sure everybody's aware of the PPP and EIDL loans from through the SBA. My understanding is that the second round of both is already gone again. and that most people had a lot of difficulty working their way through that process. So unfortunately, I don't have a lot of positivity about that. I'm expecting that both may be refunded. So if you do have an opportunity, I was telling people to go ahead and put their applications in, because if there is a third round, at least you're in the queue and you have an opportunity to maybe get some of that third round funding. Let's see what else. There are some local loan programs, and the folks who are going to be speaking after me can talk to you a little bit more about those. And also, I do want to say that on Friday, we're going to be having a Zoom call. That seems to be all we're all able to do anymore is talk on Zoom. But we'll be having a Zoom call at noon, and it is intended to be for the destination businesses, because of the fact that those are the businesses that are going to be opening next, with the shops and then the restaurants at some point. We want to discuss a strategy. We want to learn how we can help those businesses, what kind of concerns and needs those businesses have. So if anyone did not get a link, is interested in being involved in that meeting, you can send an email to kwintrow@yschamber.org, or just look in the Red Book and get the number, call the chamber, and I can send you the login information for the Zoom call. And I think that's it. Thanks, Josue.
Thank you, Karen. And we will now hear from Jenna Marie from the Yellow Springs Community Foundation. Jenna Marie.
Good evening, everybody. I wanted to come in. I think the foundation has working to create a line of credit assistant program for the nonprofits and for our local small businesses. And that has been developed at the credit union and is in the process of being funded. And the application period will be opening up on Friday, May 1st. These small business line of credit and nonprofit line of credit have two separate funds, so there's not competing for dollars. The business line of credit is $100,000 collateral that the foundation was able to put up so that the individual businesses don't have to have a collateral for the loans, and then there's $50,000 for the nonprofits. This is in addition to the individual emergency loan program that was put together for the individuals beginning in late March. And so the credit union is who to contact. They'll be taking applications. The application period will be May 1st through May 6th. And then funding will start as early as Friday, May 8th. If funds are still available, once that funding period starts, it'll open, a new window will open back up. I'm here actually talking on behalf of the credit union. They were not able to join this evening due to conflicting meetings, but so I don't have all the details from their side, but from the foundation side, the line of credit, the idea for us is I recognize that many of the businesses I talk to and the nonprofits I talk to like to have a grant as well as individuals. But the foundation is in a position to provide grants to nonprofits. We cannot provide a grant to a business or individual. So we came up with the idea of providing collateral so that the businesses can use the funds. And then we delayed the first payment until May of 2021. And we delayed interest until January of 2022 with a payoff of December 2022. So we extended the period as long as we could to allow people to get, hopefully we can get back on our feet and get our business and our transition plans in place before the individuals, businesses, and nonprofits would have to start paying the line of credit. So also the lines of credit, and individual will also take donations. And in that event, it'll increase the pool of funds that are available to have the line of credits from. So I'm excited to be able to do this. This is new ground for the foundation, but we recognize the need in our community and wanted to get out with funding as quickly as possible. And I appreciate greatly all of the work of the credit union, who is also, we worked all weekend to get ready and be available so that they can start accepting the applications on May 1st. So thank you.
Thank you, Jenna Marie. And joining us tonight is also Lisa Krieger, council member. Lisa.
Good evening, everybody. I would like to echo those thanks for the credit union and the Yellow Springs Community Foundation for this work, and announce that on April 20th, the Village of Yellow Springs transferred $35,000 of grant money for a revolving loan fund to the Yellow Springs Development Corporation. And we've begun working with the credit union with a sense of urgency, knowing that a rapid response to your financial needs is critical for our businesses, and listening to the needs of our community. Our goal is to have money from the revolving loan fund available to you by mid-May, and we're seeking to understand how the revolving loan funds can be differentiated from other grants and loans that are available to businesses in Yellow Springs. In particular, our thinking is that this particular money would be focused on those of you who are looking to enhance or reinvest in business changes. So for example, if you're going online, or if you're looking for additional equipment or needing to reconfigure your business. In addition, this money we're thinking would be available for gap funding, for cash equity, for certain types of other loans that you're seeking out. I commit that by early in May, we will provide more detail about this opportunity and would welcome your input. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. And thank you to all the speakers for joining us tonight. And we will now try to answer some of the questions that have come in through the chat box, email, and phone calls. All right, our first question. Will Yellow Springs coordinate the local business community to require masks at all retail shops? Can the village take an official action to require them? We looked into the matter of what legal requirements or what legal orders we can implement or put in place to require masks. And there's very little we can do about enforcement of masks in the public spaces. So we cannot require citizens in open space to wear masks. I think this is where many of us have been hopeful that the governor would take a stronger position on this. But he couldn't take a stronger position. So we're encouraging, as we have for the past couple of weeks, all of our residents and visitors to wear masks. Karen mentioned a bit about the effort underway to encourage folks to wear masks. There's going to be a marketing campaign to change the behavior, to encourage folks to use any face covering for the benefit of not just themselves, but others. And I think that this is very likely to happen here in our community, where we all wear masks. It becomes a norm, and we would encourage others to do it, to wear any face covering. The first part of the conversation, the first part of the question, it's already been answered in various forms. We are working with the business community to encourage possibly require masks. Now, legally, the business owners can require mask wearing inside their facility of customers. This would help with any enforcement or encouraging folks to wear masks. So if businesses are able to require that of their customers in exchange for service, that is allowable. And we think that some businesses will require that of their customers, given the space constraints that that are reality in many of our downtown businesses, that they operate in such small spaces. So for the safety of the employees and the customer, that could be required. There'll be more information on that in the coming days and weeks as we figure out how to best support our business community or residents with the guidelines on wearing masks. Police Chief, is there anything you would like to add to that?
No, thanks, Josue. You pretty much covered it. Regarding proprietors, businesses, any establishment can refuse service to anyone for any reason. I'd like to see us, work together as a village and just try to set the example and promote that. So hopefully we'll be working with the businesses on trying to be able to maybe come up with a solution so masks can be provided for people that may not have one when they come in town. We talked about that earlier this week, and I know that right now it's just a discussion, but that's something that's on the table. But in addition to what Karen mentioned, the police department is available to help assist any business in town with markings within the business, any signage that's already been used. The fire department will determine occupancy.
Thank you, Chief. Karen, is there anything you would like to add?
The message I think we're going to want to that we're going to be conveying is that it's the cool and caring thing to do to wear a mask, and caring for yourself, caring for your fellow person, and that we wanted to use some visuals and to make it a cool thing. I just saw that Yellow Springs Brewery has made their own masks that have the Yellow Springs Brewery logo. I think Wildflower Boutique has done that. So we're looking to make it somewhat of a fashion statement and a statement about an identity statement. So I think, we've got a great marketing team working on it. So I think we'll have something really that will speak to people and make it seem like the right thing to do, not that they're being forced to do it.
Yes, I think that's how we'll be most successful with our campaign. So thank you, Karen. All right, our next question is for Tom Manley, Antioch College. What contingencies is the college planning for the fall if social distancing requirements are still in place?
Yeah, first of all, I wanted to show you that I'm ready to go out. So yeah, I answered that actually in the chat for Megan. We have a coronavirus task force and a subcommittee that is coordinating with the president's team and now other governance groups at the college, the board executive committee, and the scenario planning that we're doing looks at a range of options. We have actually just today notified everyone that our summer block will be online, and that for the fall, the options that we're looking at, the range of options that include everything in between, include starting on schedule, which would be our preference if that's possible, to a delayed start, and then going into the November, December block, if it's safe, a partial online start where we would do perhaps one of the 3 courses that students would take over the fall block online, and then have people come for the remaining 2 courses, or an all online option for the fall. And there may be variations among those different possibilities.
Thank you, Tom. We have another question for you. Does President Manley see a situation in which the Wellness Center's swimming pool could open before the rest of the gym? Tom, did you?
I know I did hear it, and I am off of mute. But that's actually that's a really good question. And it's a good question because it's not one I've been asked before. So I can imagine a lot of things. I would have trouble imagining that right now, given the fact that you know. There are all sorts of things about using a pool that we might have to address beforehand. I know that some fitness places in other states are reopening. That's not something that we think we're prepared to do without a more rigorous, widely available testing, tracing system in place, which we don't have in Ohio, and we probably won't have in the near future. So near future meaning the next couple of months. So I don't see that as a split opening, but I would rely on the scientists and medical experts to tell us why that would be a better option than just waiting until we can assure that everybody would be safe.
Thank you, Tom. And I'm going to add to, not to your response directly about the Antioch swimming pool, but to the swimming pool question, just in general terms, because the village also has a pool and we've been asked what are the plans for the pool. And while we intend to open the pool, we have to be cautious with setting any timeline or parameters about how and when we'll open the pool, because some of it is really not in our control. Actually, a lot of it, most of it is not within our control. As it is, the county right now, it's not doing inspections for pools and pools permits. We have not received guidelines from the Greene County Public Health, who would be the entity responsible or for allowing us to open the pools. So there's still more work to be done in that area. I echo all that Tom has said, that there's some science behind it that we need to know, and we'll wait for the experts to weigh in on those matters. So while we intend to open the pool, we still have to wait for what those guidelines will be and hear back from the Greene County Public Health on whether we can open the pool and how we can open those pools. So thank you. Next question, could curbside pickup be encouraged and made easier for stores, especially the tiny stores that can barely fit 5 people and pre-pandemic? Could there be a designated area and parking spots? I think that's an excellent question. I think it depends on the business. Some of the small businesses are located on private property, for example, King's Yard, and there's plenty of parking there, privately held parking that perhaps could be made available for curbside pickup. On our street side parking, I think that's a conversation that we need to have internally to see how we could do such a thing and enforce or create a safe environment for people to pull in, pull out, or do pickup on the street side, since 68 it's such a busy road. So I will look into a response on that question and see what can be done. This question is for Police Chief Carlson. Do we have any plans in place to support local businesses that want to enforce no mask, no service policies? What do they do if a shopper becomes belligerent? Should they call you?
Absolutely. That's what you would do in any other circumstance. And as you know, our officers will respond immediately and compassionately, and we will assist in the situation.
Thank you, Chief. We received a question regarding the spring cleanup. That's something that the village organizes in May. I cannot confirm a date or details today, but I will make sure to have a response for you May 4th as we talk about other business activities and also budget adjustments at our May 4th virtual town hall and council meeting. So tune in on Monday for that. We hope to finalize the details of that activity. Philip, any additional questions? Okay. All right, that's it for the questions. I want to thank all the participants tonight for joining us, and thank you to our residents who are joining us and business owners who join us tonight. So with that, I want to say thank you for joining us. See us as a resource. Reach out if there's anything that we can do. We'll be there for you. Have a good night.